Hello and good morning, everyone. It's so good to see you folks. Lucas, hello. Kathleen, hi. Hey, Rod. Hey, Lindsay. Hey, Albert. Paul Weaver, it's good to see you again. Sam, Larissa, Simon, welcome in, everyone. I'm very excited about today's challenge. I can't wait to jump into to everything and show you guys what I have planned for the day. Thank you guys for all of you who actually did the challenge before I'm doing the broadcast and posted your stuff into Discord. I looked through the submissions that you guys posted for today and the ones that you posted yesterday, and you all are doing a fantastic job. Real quick though, before we jump into what I've got planned, I do want to review the Daily Creative Challenge page. For those of you who have been here before, you know the drill today, and you know me. I'm VooDoo Val for anyone who is just joining us today for the first time. And this is how you can join me in the Daily Creative Challenge. If you head over to behance.net/Daily Creative Challenge, it'll bring you here, where at the top of the page you can actually click and register to join our challenges. Basically what we've been doing is all last week and this week and for the duration up until Friday, every single day a new challenge is revealed to you. And you can come in here and get like a little description basically of what we're going to be working on and download any templates or assets that I've prepared for you ahead of time. And you guys can do these challenges or you can turn into the broadcast like what we're doing right now and work along with me, ask any questions if you folks need any help. And then post it in our Discord so that everyone can see your awesome designs. If you have never joined Discord, if you scroll down to the very bottom of that page, it'll show you the join our Discord or join our community on Discord icon here, where you can click and this is what it will pull up. If you've used Discord before, then you're no stranger to this layout, but just in case you folks have never jumped in here, or maybe you've seen Discord a few times but are a little unfamiliar, this is what you can expect. You'll get a little welcome page here where Gus has posted a lot of wonderful information about the rules here, what the Daily Creative Challenge is, and a little bit about how to navigate around in our channel. We've got a cool pro tips area here where you guys can come in and learn some pro tips. You guys can jump in here to the introductions page and tell everyone your name, let everybody know a little bit about you, where you come from, how long you've been a designer, any info that you'd like to share. And then you can actually come down here to the chat and like legitimately chit-chat, make some friends, and hang out in the Discord. You can go to the design feedback channel here, which is where I encourage all of you folks to post your designs so that I can go through them and give you some feedback, as well as the wonderful folks in chat like Kathleen and Sam and Tim. I see some high vowels in here at the bottom. I appreciate it, Kathleen. And yeah, it's a pretty fun place to be. There's a specific channel for asking any questions. If you run into issues during the challenge or you open up your Photoshop and things are not as they were before, we can help you to reorganize things and answer any questions you need. And then there's a cool little tips and tricks section here where we post a lot of helpful tutorials and things like that. So definitely join the challenge. Definitely join the Discord if you do join the challenge. And without further ado, we are going to jump into today's project. So if you read the Daily Creative Challenge page today, we are upgrading our squad this afternoon. We are taking a photo and we're removing someone from a photo, and then we're upgrading to a celebrity or a different person in that photo. And how we're going to do that is using content-aware fill, which is actually super, super cool. Catherine, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun having you here with us. Kathleen is here. Camilo's here. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're all joining us. Hello, Wendy. It's good to see you. So yeah, this is how we're going to do this. First of all, I'm going to select some of the selection tools that we used yesterday. And I'm going to start with the quick selection tool. And I'm going to make my brush just a little bit larger. I'm going to zoom in here. And I'm going to select this happy, fun-looking guy here, because we're gonna bump him out of this image, and we're going to upgrade the squad. There we go. We're gonna kind of select around her hair here. Can actually use my mouse because I have a mouse with me today. And I'm gonna hold Alt and kind of remove the selection just slightly there. All right, and I'm also gonna make sure to select his fingers over here on her hip. If you guys are using a personal photo or a stock photo or whatever, do remember that if you're going to remove something or someone from an image, that you are staying conscious of all the places in which that person or object interacts with the scene, because a few times I've done this, I have actually forgotten about stuff like that. Somebody's hand being around someone's shoulder, and then I remove somebody out of a photo and there's this phantom ghost hand just sitting on someone's shoulder, which is strange. So keep that stuff in mind. And I'm actually going to, because he's not going to be there, I'm actually going to remove this area here. Let me make my brush just a little smaller. Like right up against her back and hip there. And I think that's good. We've got him selected out of there pretty well. What I am going to do, however, is expand the selection just to make sure that we got every part of him. So the way that you can do that, if you come up here to select, and then you go down here to modify, there's a few pretty cool selections in here, or settings in here that you can mess with. We're going to do expand, which basically what this does is it takes our selection and it will expand that selection on all fronts by however many pixels I add into this challenge here. So I'm going to actually expand this by 8 pixels, and I'm gonna say enter there. And then I'm actually going to also select the shadow of him right over here, just because once we add our new person in, that shadow is not going to be as accurate. Oops, I'm actually going to hold Shift in order to add to that selection, not Alt. Holding Shift will allow you to add to the selection that you've already got going, and then holding Alt will allow you to subtract from that. So I'm going to zoom in here and I'm going to check this out. It looks like we do need to subtract here because we've got a little bit of artifacts here that don't need to be selected. And I think that looks pretty darn good. Honestly, I might even select around her hair, just because if I decide that I'm going to add the next character in very close to her, I don't want for there to be a block of that orange right in there when I do that. So I'm going to select in there. And I think that'll do it. So now we're going to jump into content aware fill, which is super exciting. So I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to go over to edit, and then I'm going to scroll down to content aware fill. And it brings us to this, which is really exciting. So as you can see, it's just loaded our little fill area here. And because I have that selected, it's basically taking artifacts and things from all of the selected area, the green region, and it's filling in that selection area with what it finds there. We don't want it to fill with her smile and her hair and her shoulder, however. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this tool off to the side here, which is the sampling brush tool. And when you're in content aware fill, you can just hit B and it'll pull that up. And we are going to subtract her from this selection where it samples from, so that we're only filling the space with the background there. And then we're going to let that load just a little bit, and it should, yeah, there we go. So you can see the preview above me is basically what it's going to be giving us. And I might even go through and kind of erase in some of the darker areas, because I do want it to be a little bit brighter where it's sampling, so I'm going to kind of tone that down just a little bit. And then here you've got some pretty cool settings here. I want to make sure that I am outputting this new fill to a new layer and not current layer, because I don't want to destroy or alter the original photo that I'm using. I'm gonna keep doing like a little bit of kind of curbing that sampled area there. And then you can come through and you can mess with the color adaptation and the resolution, or the rotation adaptation. I'm going to actually leave the color adaptation to none, and I'm going to turn the rotation adaptation to full. And then that should be good. Let's see what that gives us. It's thinking a little bit. There we go. I think maybe I could even kind of remove or add some of the selection around his head a little bit, so there's no little halo around the selection area. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hit OK, and it's gonna think for just a little while longer while it puts everything into order. But what it's going to do is it's going to have our layer underneath there, and then above that it's going to have a layer or an object basically in the shape of our selection with that content fill there, effectively removing him from the image. So once you folks kind of do this and you set up your fill, your content aware fill, then you can start making the decision to choose what image you would like to put in its place. And this is how I'm going to do this. This is my favorite part of this whole challenge. I've been waiting the entire week to be able to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do Command D, and I'm going to deselect, and I'm going to duplicate our main layer here so that I don't destroy it, so I can come back to it if I need to later. And I'm going to merge all of these layers here. So I'm going to do select our layer like we've been doing throughout the challenges, and I'm going to hold Shift and I'm going to click this layer that I also want to select, and I'm going to do Command E in order to merge them. And then I am going to grab our magic wand tool, which if you were on your quick selection tool, remember you can right click a tool and it will give you the little drop down menu to show you all of the different tools that you can select from that segment. We're going to hit magic wand, and I'm going to come in here and sort of select around her real quick, and I'm going to grab my lasso tool real quick just to grab this final area. The main thing that I wanted to select is a clean selection over to the left of her. There's some artifacts over here, but I'm not going to be putting a character in there, so I'm not too worried about how clean that selection is. But now we're going to upgrade the squad, which was the whole point of this. And I sincerely hope that you folks didn't think that you were going to spend 10 days with me in a row without having a Star Wars challenge. So I'm sure you can guess who I was going to put in there. If you are not familiar with me or the previous streams, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so obviously if we're going to remove this gentleman from the image, we're definitely going to upgrade to Kylo Ren. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do Command A to select the outside of our entire image here, and then I'm going to do Command C to copy. And I'm going to come over here to our selection, and I'm going to do Command-Alt-Shift-V, which is paste into. So I've got my selection. I've got my selection, and I've basically pasted him into the shape of that selection. And I'm going to transform him over here, like so. I'm going to put him in there. That looks pretty good. We got some artifacts around her hair, just a little bit, but we can take care of that in a moment. All right, so she's upgraded to a way cooler boyfriend. A boyfriend with a working lightsaber and the Force, which is awesome. It is not Volde Gandalf. No, it is not, Kathleen. Oh my gosh, here come the memes and the puns. Oh man, I love Star Trek. Oh, I'm so glad, Simon. Kurt Russell was great in Star Wars. Oh, you guys are killing me here. It's physically taxing for me to read these jokes. Yes, it is the Night King, Jan Eric. It is indeed. I'm glad you're also a fan, Simon. That's excellent. All right, so now that we have him added in here, we're gonna do a little bit of editing just to make him look a little bit more like he belongs. So I am going to select, I'm gonna do like kind of click this selection here. I can hold Command, and then I can left click the selection here, and it will give me that selection again. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click, and I'm actually gonna say select inverse, so that I only have a selection of the woman. And I'm gonna go Command Shift in to make a new layer, and I'm gonna call this lightsaber glare, like so. And I'm gonna grab my brush, and I'm gonna select this red color from his lightsaber, and I am going to throw some red over on the side of her real quick. And if I had more time, I would be a little more accurate with where I'm putting all this red color, but for now, I kind of need to just get this in here so that you guys can see an example, and then I'll probably come back later and really clean it up and make it look super, super crispy. But we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna go back to our handy dandy blend modes that we've all been experimenting with for the last couple weeks. And you guys can, depending on your image, you folks can kind of scroll through and find one that you think is the best for your project. I think that I'm probably gonna end up using color for this. So I'm going to select color, and remember, again, if you're working with elements in your piece with the selection tool or with something selected, and the little ant trail, the little selection lines there are distracting to you, you can always go Command H to hide them, and you will still be selected. You will still have them all, everything selected the way that you wanted it, you just won't see them, which is very convenient. So now that I have that, I'm gonna hit my E, my eraser, and I'm gonna kind of tone it down just a tad bit, just a little there. And I can even come in here, I can make a new layer, and I can call this hair touch up. Oops. Hair touch up, and I can take my brush again and grab this here, and I am still selected. Still selected, and I'm gonna kind of darken the top of the hair there just a little. All right, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little bit of a shadow behind him so he doesn't look like he's just pasted in there. So again, with the selection, I'm going to hold Command, and I'm going to click my Kylo Ren layer there, and it will give me the selection just around him. And then I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to call this shadow, if it will allow me, shadow. And then I'm gonna do Command H to hide that selection so I don't have to look at it. And I'm gonna go to my brush. Am I still selected on there? Yeah. I'm gonna go to my brush tool, and I'm going to make it a little bit larger. And I'm gonna grab this color actually, and then I'm gonna go to my foreground color, and I'm gonna make it a little bit darker. Saturated still, but darker. And then I'm going to, let's see. Oh, I actually have to select inverse on that selection so that I'm not painting into the character there. I want to paint around him. So I'm going to go select inverse. I'm going to hide the selection again. And then I'm going to add some darker tones in here like so. And then I can even sort of alter the saturation and everything on that because the color doesn't really match too well. So we're going to go Command U, which will pull up your hue and saturation menu here. And you can do all kinds of stuff with this. We can like bump this around and make it a different color altogether. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bump up that saturation. And I think I'm even going to make it slightly lighter, or we could go darker and then we could put it on a blending mode. It's up to you, depends on you and what you're doing for your personal project. So I'm going to go OK, and I'm going to even test out, like I said, some blend modes just in case there is something that I prefer rather than just having painted that in there. I typically have a list of different blending modes in my head that I really like to use, but sometimes I like to just kind of go down the list and see what's there, you know, see what's available to me, and maybe find a blending mode that kind of does something that I didn't expect. Those happy accidents are fun sometimes. I might do like a multiply and turn the opacity down just a little bit. That might work. Yeah, that could do it. Maybe we'll duplicate that with Command J and turn it on a normal, and then also turn the opacity down on that just a little bit, just to give it a darkness on the side there. Again, if I had a little bit more time, I might be slightly more accurate with how everything's looking, but I think you guys get the picture here. Kylo, don't you remember me? No, he doesn't. He doesn't, Jan. You make too many Star Trek jokes for him to remember you. Jan Solo. Oh my gosh, please no. Hats off to all of you and your excellent Star Wars, Star Trek puns, and even to Kathleen for all of the Lord of the Rings injected Star Wars jokes as well. You guys have been swell. I hope that you enjoyed this challenge. Actually, before we take off here, I'm going to save this and I'm going to share it just to kind of go over one last time how you can share your design with me. I'm going to go Command-Shift-S, and I'm going to navigate to my folder here, and I'm going to rename this Kylo Upgrade. And I'm going to save the PSD file in my folder, and then I'm going to save one more time. I'm going to go Command-Shift-S, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG, like so. And then I'm even going to do our group that we always do. I'm going to go Command-G with all those selected, and I'm going to hide this. And I'm also going to save step 1 so that I can upload 2 different versions of this. Let's make that a JPEG as well. There we go. And then now we're going to go over to Behance and Discord. So if you folks have been keeping a Behance project up and running throughout the weeks, uploading all of your challenges and whatnot, you will be able to come back to your Behance page and edit your existing project and add in your challenge from today. So this is how I'm going to do mine. Remember, if you hover over your project, hit edit, you'll be able to pull up your existing project here, and you can just scroll down to where you want to add your latest piece. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to change challenge 7 to upgrade. Let me get my caps going on. Upgrade your squad. And then I'm going to hit the grid here. I'm going to upload my files, and I'm going to navigate to my step 1 and step 2 here, and I'm going to hit open, and they should load in just like that. So once they're loaded, you can save, and then you'll be able to jump into your project and see your upgraded images like this. And then also, if you are working along with me or have been working along with me today, I definitely want you to head over to Discord and post your piece for today's challenge in the design feedback. Go to bit.ly/PS Discord if you have not already. And I'm going to put mine in there. There we go. And share it. Get some feedback from the community, get some feedback from me, and from all of the other wonderful, awesome friends that we have in the Discord. I can't wait to see what all of you guys do. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you tomorrow.